We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know we will get there.
Okay, so once again, you're welcome to Cape Coast Castle. I'm going to be your tour guide. The tour will take us about 45 minutes. Your questions and comments are welcome. So first of all, I'll give you a brief history about this building, and I'll tell you what happened here some centuries back. So this is Cape Coast Castle. This building dates back to the 17th century. It was built in 1665 by the British. And again, this is the third castle the Europeans constructed along the coast of Ghana. The first was Elmina Castle. That was built by Portugal around 1482. So meaning Elmina Castle is about 200 years older than Cape Coast Castle. We have the other one in Accra, Christiansborg Castle, that was Denmark, 1661. So Cape Coast Castle was the youngest. And also I want to talk about castles and forts along the coast of West Africa. It is estimated that we had about 60. And out of that 60, Ghana alone as a country in West Africa had more than 50. So Ghana had about 95% of all the forts and castles West Africa had. Why Ghana had that much? We had that much because of gold. Yeah, gold attracted Europeans to this part of the world. Europeans bought gold from the North Africans. And you know, geographically, North Africa is closer to Europe than West Africa. But they knew that the source of the gold was not in North Africa, but it was south of the Sahara. The British only constructed this building for the slave trade, not the gold trade, because you could make a lot of money from the slave business then than the gold business. You see, behind me was a condemned cell. Let's come in. Okay, the condemned cell. They built this place to suffocate people to death, especially men who tried to escape, rebel, or revolt. We were left here without food, water, light, and air. The last door here was closed. So within some few days, the last person suffocated to death. The bodies were taken out, the bodies were shown to the rest of the captives before the bodies were thrown into the sea. We can only say, may their souls rest in peace. Amen. Let's get some air. Kindly take these steps up to the former slave market by name Palava Hall. There's a lot of history there also. Alright, so please let's take the steps up. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, we call this place Palava Hall. There's a Palava Hall. This room was one time the slave market. So as I told you earlier on, this building was only constructed for the transatlantic slave trade. So the British could make a lot of money from that. So here, the merchants will wait to be supplied with slaves. And I'll tell you how we got slaves. We got them through intertribal wars or ethnic warfare. So I fight your tribe, I defeat your tribe. Your men and women were sold off to the Europeans as slaves. People were kidnapped. Towns and villages were raided. Victims of religious crime, debtors, or criminals were also sold off as slaves. So this was actually practiced almost everywhere in West Africa. So one way or the other, every West African country participated in the transatlantic slave trade. And also as far as from Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, through northern Ghana, we brought people down here to be sold. And unfortunately, human beings were exchanged for European goods, like guns, mirror, tobacco, alcoholic drinks, gunpowder, blanket, shoes, and the rest. So after they were sold, they were taken downstairs. And downstairs, they were branded. You know, the companies had their names under a piece of metal. That metal was placed into fire till the whole thing was red hot. Your hand, your chest, or your back was stamped. So the mark on your skin identified whoever purchased you. It also determined where you were going from the dungeons, either to North America, the Caribbean, the West Indies, or South America. There's another history here. Colonization in Ghana started in this room. The bond of 1844 was signed here between the British and the Fanti chiefs when the Fantis needed protection from the British against the Ashantis. And the British brought a policy, okay, before I protect you, accept me as your ruler for 100 years, then I'll protect you. The Fantis said yes. So they came here and signed the bond of 1844. Immediately the bond was signed, it paved way for British rule. And officially, Cape Coast Castle served as the seat of government for the British. And Cape Coast also served as Ghana's first capital city. Finally, on 6th March 1957, we had independence. But did you know that Ghana was supposed to gain independence in 1944, not 57? So on paper, Ghana was supposed to be ruled for 100 years, starting on 6th March 1844, ending on 6th March 1944. So that is what Nkrumah did. Nkrumah argued, I'm talking about Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, he argued with the bond of 1844. So, my people signed this, it is time now, we want self-government, we want independence. So that is how come Nkrumah intentionally chose 6th March. This building, and I mentioned it's both Africans and Europeans. So let's say this: the Europeans brought in artisans, engineers, carpenters, masons, but the main labor were Africans. They needed someone to crack the stones, someone to carry the stones, because you cannot construct something like this without that kind of labor. So it was both the Africans and the Europeans who constructed this building. So unfortunately, we constructed our own dungeon. Is the first court of justice in Ghana. This place was named after George MacLean. So George MacLean actually introduced the European judicial system here. And when he introduced it, this place was used as a courtroom. So MacLean himself was a judicial assessor. So when he died, this room was named after him. That's how we call it the MacLean Court. And again, for the lawyers, the West African Court of Appeal was right here in Cape Coast, about a kilometer from here. Okay. Ago. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we are now at the governor's apartment. Wow. LA way for British rule. So officially, Cape Coast Castle served as the seat of government of this colony. And Cape Coast also served as Ghana's first capital city. So the British governor lived here. This was the governor's sitting room. And please take a good look at this room. See, one person lived here with about 20 windows. The place was well ventilated. Very soon we shall visit the dungeon. And you realize that a room of this size can accommodate about 300 people. They had holes of this size for light and air. Before we visit the governor's bedroom also, note that on 19th March 1877, the capital was removed from Cape Coast to Accra. Yeah, so the whole thing about the transatlantic slave trade, that Africans should be used as slaves, was suggested by them. And there was this priest they called Bartholomew de las Casas. He played a major role in using Africans in place of the native Indians. So that is how come maybe churches were built on dungeons. So that was the first Anglican church in Ghana, and underneath the church was a male slave dungeon. Jesus was worshipped there, Jesus was praised, people died and mourned underneath the church. We have a door of no return. Yes, so that was the final exit for everybody. So through this door, you ended up in Jamaica, America, Barbados, or England. You follow their footsteps of Shashu Limited.
Well, so far the experience has been exciting. The organization was on point. Every place that we went to, we had fun. So we've enjoyed the trip and we recommend Enos travel to everybody.
We did an adventure at Cancun, a marvelous experience. My first time actually on that place. I'm actually afraid of heights, but super, a great experience. And we also did
Inzulezu.
yes, Inzulezu. That
Yes.
water. I think we're going to get a property there sometime soon.
Yeah. We're actually talking about that.
Yes, yeah. And a nice place to be.
And then the Buzia Beach
Buzia
and
Beach.
the Abokwa Island. That's
Crossing onto the island was my
Oh, me too.